Thank you, Sebastien, for jumping on board, and thank you for responding to my DM on Instagram to have you on this fourth episode of the Elite Trading Podcast. For the people who are watching, could you just please give us a little bit about your background, who you are, what you do, where you're from, and what instrument of the market you trade?
Yeah, of course. So my name's Sebastian. I'm originally from Quebec, Canada. I've been traveling the world for quite a long time now. And the main reason why I've been able to do that is because I've been trading for about 5 years now. I started off as a crypto trader known as Seb Crypto Trades, eventually just got out of crypto for the most part. And I've been focused in on the Forex markets, but mostly just on working on automation so that I don't really have to be actively trading all the time. I can have things automated, I can get capital, and I can help others.
Okay, sounds good. So when you got started with crypto, what got you into crypto in the first place? How did you find to know about crypto?
Good question. Well, the real story, let's just say, I was buying totally legal things online with crypto many, many years ago. So I heard about crypto a very long time ago. Whenever I used to play Call of Duty as well, I used to see people with the name of selling something Bitcoin, and I'd understand why they're doing that or why, what Bitcoin really was. So I always heard about it, but I only really got into trading crypto once I turned 18 years old because I had a bunch of money I saved. I wanted to stop working and be able to travel. So I just thought crypto would be the best way to do it. There was a lot of opportunity. I started in 2020 when we had a big bull run, so good
All
timing.
right. Oh yeah, 2020 was kind of a crazy, crazy market. I know a lot of. So I just got started 2019. That was 1 year before the pandemic, and I was not fortunate enough to make money from the market because I was just learning. I was trading in the sim at the time, but I know a lot of people who made lots of money. I was watching my mentor trading live, and one day he made almost half a mil. That was a testament. Like that was a testimony for me that okay, it's actually doable. So how long did you trade crypto and why did you stop trading it?
Stopped, it's just because I realized that the cryptocurrency markets have a lot of opportunity when there's a lot of volume. Whenever there's less volume, typically it's going to be not as powerful as trading something like Forex. The other
Correct.
issue also whenever you're trading crypto is whenever you're trading different pairs, they all move in the same direction, right? So it's like if whenever you were trading Forex, every single pair you have on your watch list all go up or down at the same time. It's not very useful. So if you're in five positions and the market's dumped, all of them will lose if you're long. So that's one of the main reasons why I got out and switched more over to Forex. Also for prop firms, it's a lot better to trade Forex.
Okay. So yeah, how long did you go about trading crypto and when did you shift towards Forex?
So yeah, I mean, I've been trading Forex for a little while, just not full time or actively. So I traded Forex a little bit back in 2023. I also did do some other markets. Like whenever I started off, I didn't just do crypto back in 2020. I did options and a bit of stocks as well. I don't talk about it too much because it was very short and it was mostly like a little learning curve. But yeah, I mostly just stopped trading crypto in the last couple of months. I had been trading Forex mostly as my main thing for the last year and a half or so, though.
So were you profitable trading crypto?
Yeah, the only issue was I didn't have like as good of a system as I do now with the Forex markets because with crypto, a lot of it's momentum based and you need to utilize a whole bunch of different things to avoid massive wicks taking you out. And I just wasn't a fan of utilizing those techniques anymore. I also just didn't find as many opportunities with crypto as I found with the Forex markets where no matter what kind of market conditions we're having, there's always going to be something that you can trade whether it's up, down, or even sideways. So that's the main reason why I'm mostly focused on Forex. But I was quite profitable. I mean, I made multiple six figures trading Forex and also with crypto. Crypto pretty much only took me 6 months to actually get there. Forex, it took longer because I was going through prop firms. So passing prop firms, learning prop firms, and then scaling up.
Yeah, I mean, talking about prop firms, that is kind of interesting because I do trade stocks. I basically trade with my own capital. My risk tolerance wouldn't really let me to trade with somebody else's money, but I know a lot of people trading Forex and futures. They go
Yeah.
through prop firms. So what is the process of getting into that and how do you get funding?
So prop firms are, in my opinion, the best way for anybody to be trading. It doesn't really matter the market or the level of capital or experience. The main reason why, and at first I thought they were scams, to be honest, because everybody said they were scams before, but I actually spent a lot of time researching them to understand them. And to answer your question, prop firms, you're not really trading with other people's money. Most of it's demo. The way that it works is 95% of traders lose money. And so the way the prop firms make money typically is one, through evaluation fees. So let's say you want a $10,000 account, it'll maybe cost you $100 for you to apply for it. Once you pass a challenge, they give you access to the actual account. When you make profit, they pay you that out straight into a crypto wallet or bank transfer. If you're very consistent, they bring you onto real funds and then they can actually scale you up, and that's when they can make a lot more money. The main reason why prop firms are extremely good is because let's say you make 10% on a $1,000 personal account, whether it's with stocks, Forex, or crypto, you're only going to make $100 if you make 10% on 1,000. But with $1,000, with a lot of prop firms, you're able to get a $200,000 account if you can pass it, right? And if you can pass it and you make 10% on that, you're making $20,000 compared to $100, which makes it infinitely better for you to be utilizing prop firms because you're able to get a lot more capital in the long run and you're able to scale up with your trading to a much higher level. And so that's why I'd recommend prop firms. But the main issue whenever it comes down to prop firms is the fact that it's not easy to actually pass these accounts, right? Making 10 or 15% in a week or 2 weeks, it's not easy, right? It's a lot to make, especially with small amounts of risk. And so what I've decided to do is just focus in on the best strategy to actually pass these. I call it the one shot, one kill model, where you either pass an account or you lose it in one go. But at this point, I've created a lot of automations to actually pass these, both for myself and for other people, because it takes way too long to actually go through this whole system of trying to pass, losing the account, and it affecting your trading psychology.
So if anybody is kind of interested into going down that route, where do they start and who do they reach out to?
For just like learning about prop firms or for automations.
Both.
So whenever it comes down to what I'm doing, there's a link that we can just put in the video description for that, or just on my Instagram, there's information. For people that want to learn more about prop firms, I would not recommend just going onto YouTube and searching for something. I don't recommend buying a course either because most people, they don't actually give you the right information. And with prop firms, there's a lot of bad ones out there which will not actually pay you out, as you might have heard before. So, before anything else, if you're only looking to trade yourself and you want my advice in terms of finding the right prop firm, in 30 seconds, let's sum it up like this for you. Figure out what kind of trader you are, whether it's scalping, day trading, swing trading, which markets you're trading, whether it's stocks, Forex, or crypto, or futures, for example. And then at that point, figure out, okay, how many trades am I actually taking per day, per week? What kind of edge do I have? Really make sure that you have really solid data on your trading, and then figure out if that will apply with the rules of the certain prop firm you're looking for. So if you don't know really where to start, if you're outside of the US and you're looking to trade Forex, FTMO is going to be the best bet for you. If you're looking to trade crypto, I'd recommend going with Breakout. It's international. It's the best out there. I'm not going to go into all the information. Like I said, you can do that research yourself or come to me and I'll help you. And if you're looking for futures, I'd recommend Top Step. That's also international. If you want a Forex, I didn't mention this, but if you want a Forex prop firm that works in the US, I'd recommend E8 Markets or maybe Instant Funding. Both of those platforms are quite good. But you still have to pass the evaluation yourself, and that takes a long time, which is why I start to help people with that.
Okay, sounds good. So from your experience, talking about yourself personally, what made you profitable? What was that one thing that you did, or a few things that you did, or a few systems or processes that you put in place that took you from just being a beginner trader to becoming a profitable trader?
Yeah, that's a really good question. A lot of traders, they speak about the click moment where you go from unprofitable to profitable. I don't think it's that simple. I think there's a moment where you kind of connect the dots, but you go from like beginner, unprofitable, break even to profitable to then true mastery where trading really becomes boring. It's not really something that's like super instant, like a lot of people say. So I feel like that is something that's important to mention. But my click moments were whenever I went from unprofitable to break even, which was relatively early on in my journey. I spoke about it in a recent YouTube video. The whole concept is information hoarding, which is a lot of people, they gather a lot of information, right? They watch a lot of YouTube videos, they scroll through Instagram, they look at a lot of podcasts. It doesn't really matter, courses, etc., because they're trying to find something outside of them to help them actually become profitable, like the holy grail or some secret strategy, which is why, if you look up anything trading online and you see things with millions of views, it's things which have a secret strategy, something that banks don't want you to know, all things like that, or $100 a day strategy. So, what actually made it for me that helped me become a lot more profitable was understanding what trading actually is, which is that it's just a probabilities game. It's just about numbers. It's about actually
Uh-huh.
following an edge. And so for me to actually take the game more seriously, I needed to understand what is risk to reward, realize risk to reward. How do you journal? How do you go through data? How do you improve an edge? What actually quantifies an edge? And that forced me, for me to actually get there, to completely let go of consuming a bunch of content on YouTube, going on Instagram. I cut all of that out. And that's what really, really, really helped me. But once I cut that out, I still need to learn how do I actually journal properly. And that took me a long time to really, really get solid with that and to gather data on my trades. But then honestly, between that and being extremely profitable and consistent and trading becoming basically second nature, which is where I'm at now, it's not an instant process. It's a psychological process that takes time. It's something that's going to happen no matter what you're doing in life, whether it's trading or something else. It's just going to require you to do a lot of repetitions to get used to it and for it to become muscle memory, but the right repetitions. Coming in, taking your trades, following your plan, journaling, rinsing and repeating over and over until you eventually get to your goal, which hopefully you already have a plan and you reverse engineered, figuring out how you're going to get there.
It's actually good that you mentioned we go from beginner to unprofitable to break even to then profitable. And the break even point usually is where most people actually stop. They just feel like, oh, I've been doing this for a long time and I'm not seeing any profit, but they don't realize being a break even trader is a lot of progress. I remember when I was on my downtrend where I was just giving money away, giving money away, giving money away. And the day I looked at my data on TraderView, and there was a month where I didn't make any money, but I didn't also lose any money. I was like negative like $5 or $10 for the entire month, and I was like, oh, cool, that's great. I talked to a friend. He told me, bro, that's very good. That means you are actually learning how to turn the corner. But then when I watch a lot of people on YouTube, especially beginners, they give up at that point because they don't see any results, but they don't understand the importance of just being a break-even trader. So mentally, when you became a break-even trader, what made you continue this journey? Because at that point, you are still not making any money. So what made you continue? How did you cope about it mentally?
So I had a good plan going into my trading journey. I made sure that I actually wasn't going in blind. In a way, I was with information, but I had
Uh-huh.
saved up enough money so that I was able to just focus in on trading, lose a bunch of money, spend a bunch of time all day, every day on it, while not having to worry about money. I saved up about like $20,000. I said, okay, I'll just keep it for 1 year. I'll live very frugally. I'll just study trading 10 hours a day and only do that, which made it so that it didn't matter what happened. I already knew I'm taking this 1 year only to focus in on this. Whatever happens, happens. And if at the end of the year I run out of money and trading doesn't work, that's fine. I'll just start doing something else, or maybe I'll try to keep doing trading on the side while I'm looking for another job. So that's what really helped me, because some people, they think, okay, well, I have $1,000 and I want to turn into $10,000 of trading next week. Those are the wrong expectations, which are going to make people not be interested in trading. If after a month they don't get good results, and then after 2 months they're break even, they're probably going to stop, even though they might have gotten a lot of good results. So for me, it was having the right mindset, and then also being surrounded by the right people, which some of them had been trading for multiple more years than I did. For example, there's somebody that I met which had been trading for 6 years and was still break even. And it's something that blew my mind at first, but I realized that the fact that he still break even after 6 years, it just means that he has a couple of things he needs to tweak, and he's already
Uh-huh.
managed to go very, very far. And at this point, he's been trading for over 8 years, and he's making a lot more money than I am, because all he's done is just focus on his trading. He figured out what actually was stopping him from being profitable. And one thing I also wanted to mention really quickly with the break even aspect, I believe it's very easy for people to go from unprofitable to break even. I think it's a small gap, to be honest, because what typically happens is people, for them to become break even, what they do, from what I've seen over hundreds of people that I've given classes to and that I've seen people in all sorts of industries. And the moment that they become break even is when they stop the psychological trends of over trading, of over risking, of not following the plan, because a lot of them will make money and then they lose all the gains. So maybe they make $100, $100, $100, then they lose 500 in the next trade because of poor risk management, poor psychology, and poor habits. As soon as you remove that, if you just go in your journal and you remove those bad habits, those trades which don't make sense, and you add up all your numbers, you'll probably at least be break even, right? So that's something that I would recommend everybody look at. If you have data, you can actually improve. The problem is most people, they don't journal, so they can't actually do this exercise, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah. So risk management is key to any trader, whether you are just getting started or you are making millions in your P&L. My mentor liked to say it this way: trading isn't always about making money. It's more so of like a game of not trying to lose. If you master the skill of not losing money or cutting your losses as quickly as possible, you would most definitely learn how to have a good risk management. So, what was your biggest challenge when you got started? And what is your biggest challenge now?
Biggest challenge when I got started, I would say, I suppose it was kind of like knowing exactly what I should be doing and having confidence that I can repeat that and actually get progress. So it's kind of like if somebody was totally new to fitness and wanted to, lose fat, gain muscle, and improve their health. You can't just very easily go online and follow one thing and be certain that you're going to get results from that because there's 100 different people saying 100 different things in terms of which diets to do, the macros, how to calculate that, etc. So many different things, the exercises. And that's why it's difficult for beginners in any industry to get started with something, especially like trading, because it's even more difficult psychologically. So that's what I would say was difficult for me was I was following too many people online trying to figure out who's the right person to follow. And I didn't really have like one strategy I could really call mine and a lot of data on that strategy because I was still trying to find something that I felt 100% certain would actually work for me. So that's what I would say is my main difficulty as a beginner. And I would believe that most people that are hearing me right now would probably also nod their heads and agree that's probably them as well. Because I've seen a lot of other people also, have that same type of struggle. And these days, I don't really feel like I have many struggles, to be honest. I've managed to automate most of my trading, so I don't have to execute very much. I'm mostly just focused in on mentoring. I think the hardest part right now for me to mentor the traders that I have and that I'm working with is a lot of them have like very, very small things that they need to iron out, whether that's just spending a bit more time not on the charts, like trying to find setups, but actually reviewing their journal and figuring out what is similar between these losses, what's similar between these wins, really dissecting the trade as deeply as possible. Because whenever you do that and you go deep into the trades that you've taken, that's when you can have the click moment that allows you to surpass where you are at the moment and become even more profitable. And that just keeps going the more that you do that. So that's what I would say is the main struggle is, the traders being a bit obnoxious and thinking, you know what, I'll just keep doing it, it's fine. And then once a losing streak comes, psychology is affected and they need to take a break. I think that's the hardest thing because I don't have much control over that.
Yeah, and talking about the losing streak, what was the most amount of money you lost in a day, and how did you recover from that loss?
Well, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the exact I don't know if there's like a bigger number, but I do remember on Saturday Night Live whenever Elon Musk talked about Doge, it was something like April 21st, 2021 or something. Back then, I remember that I was certain, absolutely certain Doge was topping out that day and it was going to go down significantly over the next couple of months, which, I mean, you can look at the charts yourself. I was dead on right. The thing is, I didn't actually calculate how much drawdown I could go into. So I put in like $10,000 into a trade, and then I was like on 10x leverage on crypto, like with margin, and then I put in another 5,000 whenever I was starting to go into drawdown, and another 5,000. I just kept adding to it, but I kept going into more drawdown, very very close, and I randomly just one more wicked me out, and I lost maybe over 20,000, maybe $25,000 on that.
Wow.
And then I checked a few hours later, and I would have been like $200,000 in profit. So that definitely hurt quite a lot. It wasn't that big of a number that I lost, but it was like the opportunity cost that really hurt because I
Right,
was
right.
right. But yeah.
And how do you usually manage your losses? Because it doesn't matter how much money you make trading. When you have that red day, it just feels bad. Like I remember my biggest loss ever was last year. I lost 42 grand in 1 week. And when I lost on June 3rd, I went to the gym. I knew I was going to recover from the loss. I wouldn't just be able to make it in one day. It could take maybe a month or two to just take those best hits and come back up to my high PNL. But mentally, I was just, man, I mean, why do you have to make that stupid mistake? Although you
Okay.
knew you could recover from that. So how do you mentally cope with those moments, especially when you have like a few days red streak?
So, I know myself very well. I mean, I'm not that old. I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but I'm 22 years old. And obviously, I haven't lived that long, but I am very self-analytical and self-critical. So I know a lot of my mental drawbacks, which is why I analyze my trading. This is why I mentioned this earlier as well, in terms of figuring out what the kind of trader you are. I figured out that a lot of the mistakes that I made was because I was trading with my own capital on some of these brokers and crypto exchanges where I kind of had that unlimited risk available to me. If I had $100,000 in an account, I could risk the whole $100,000 and blow it up within 5 seconds if I wanted to.
Wow.
So, I was always aware that that was there. And so that's one thing which I realized was one of my main drawbacks because I had blown multiple accounts in the past, especially when I was doing options trading at the start. And obviously, if you learn more about risk management, you have a better plan, you can avoid that. But you can still click the buy button with 100 lots or a maximum size at any moment in time, which is why that's why I realized that it's a lot better for me, at least for me and for a lot of other people from what I've seen, to trade with prop firms because you don't actually have that. Like the worst thing that can happen is you have, let's say, a $200,000 account, an evaluation that you're trying to pass, right? And you try to pass the account, you spend $1,000 for it, and then you lose a bunch of trades, whether that day or that week, and there goes the $1,000 you spent. You didn't lose 200K, you just lost 1,000. And that's one thing which helps quite a lot because whenever you do go through losing streaks with prop firms, the psychology is a lot better if you know how to think correctly running the prop firm, thinking of one account as one trade. In other words, it's normal to go into 3 losses in a row as a trader. Just like it's normal, or at least it should be, to lose 3 prop firm challenges in a row. In other words, buying smaller accounts. With that said, to answer your question more specifically, for me to handle losing streaks, I have a system where whenever I do manually execute trades, I use a software that automatically forces me out of my account if I hit this much of a loss, which is very, very, very tight, like 1%, maybe 0.5%. And I have the same thing for profit, which is important to talk about. So as soon as I hit a profit call, I'm completely locked on my account and my risk is automatically set for me. So whenever I enter a trade, I don't have to manually think, oh, okay, I'm going to go in with 1% or 2% or 3% risk. It's automatically set for me. So all I'm doing is just entering and thinking about the stop loss, take profit, and management, which completely removes that whole equation of me being able to over risk or over trade. It's not even possible. I'm just locked out of the account, which helps quite a lot.
Okay. So in the beginning, you mentioned about 95% of people don't make it into this business. So what do you think is the biggest factor for them not to make it?
The biggest factor, I mean, there's a couple of different things which are difficult. What I would say is, so I've seen a lot of people come and go with trading. The only issue is whenever they go, usually they don't actually say anything. Like they don't say like, "Oh, hey Seb, I stopped trading because of this." They don't actually like go and tell you like, "Oh yeah, these are all the reasons why I left trading." They just leave.
Right, right.
So it's not like that's the survivor's bias or whatever it's called, that whole, theory of not really knowing exactly what's going on with those that leave. But what I have seen with those traders which are struggling to actually become profitable and become part of the 95% is a lot of them, they just refuse to do very simple things which allow them to be profitable. For example, there's somebody right now which I am coaching that I told them just use a journal. Just use a journal and use this tool to make sure you're following a consistency. And they keep refusing to do that. They keep refusing. And I'm telling you, it'll take you 5 minutes. That's literally 5 minutes, and that's it. I will even hop on a call with you and help you do it. And they refuse.
Uh-huh.
They see zero value in doing it. And on the long run, that kind of like inflexible mindset, that mindset of I'm different and I don't need to do that, is what causes a lot of people to fail in most things in life, but even more so with trading, because like I say all the time, whenever you lose a trade, you are losing money. The markets are telling you you're wrong. And if you've told your friends you were in that trade and they ask you, you have to tell them, oh, I was wrong. That's pretty hurtful every time you
Right.
take a loss. So it becomes quite difficult for most people to handle.
Okay. Correct. So what your process looks like on any given day?
My process for like looking for trades.
Yes, like how do you, I mean, I would assume in Europe you are like 7 to 8 hours ahead. So usually it's for us it's like when I'm waking up, I need to run my computer and then run my scanners and all of that. But for you, I think it's gonna be like middle of the day or end of day. What process do you have in place to start trading? What do you look for?
So, I mean, like I said, I don't even have to trade anymore, which is really great. What I do more specifically is I coach traders, which are already somewhat profitable. I help them become
Uh-huh.
very good, and then I have their trades copied over to, my personal accounts, which just allows me to focus more on other things in my life and just coaching them. But whenever I used to trade more, I was more of a swing trader. I did do a lot of scalping on NQ with smart money concepts before, but whenever I was scalping and whenever I was swing trading, my process was similar. I would just have my general watch list, my usual coins or usual pairs. I would just go ahead and take a look at the charts, usually on the daily time frame, pretty much at any time during the day, just take a look. I would set some alerts on key levels. Whenever we hit those levels, I look for a reaction. I enter, stop loss, take profit, and wait. My process was very simple. It wasn't like that always. It used to be a lot more complicated, but after years, that's what I realized I needed to do to find profitability as opposed to checking 30 indicators and 30 strategies and a bunch of watch lists. I noticed all of that would actually cause me to be losing profitability due to the fact that I was overthinking, right? And if there's too many things you're looking at, let's say you're looking at 5 things for confirmation, and let's say 4 things give you confirmation, but the fifth one doesn't fully, you might not take the trade, even though 4 out of 5 are telling you yes, as opposed to only have 1 or 2 things you look at and backtest the data to prove that's all you need, which allows you to execute more ruthlessly and overthink less.
Okay, sound good. So what advice would you give yourself if you had to go back 5 years ago?
Prop firms. Start with prop firms right away. Don't do options. Options is the worst market to trade, in my opinion. And I'm sorry to options traders, but I think it's the worst. The main reason why is because there's a lot of regulations and a lot of like big red tape to go through to actually start, just because it's a lot more difficult whenever you're not actually in the US to trade options for so many reasons. I mean, you're usually trading the US markets, which is just not easy. There's the PDT rule once you're in the US, especially if you're going to be trading a lot. There's all these other things to consider, which requires more capital. And even if all of that didn't exist, I still wouldn't recommend options because you have so many more things to learn. If you want to learn Forex trading, you could just learn basic price action. With options, you have to learn all of the Greeks. You have to learn time decay. You have to learn implied volatility. You have to learn so many different things. And there's so many little things you can do to lose a bunch of money, like zero DTE options. And so I just want to recommend a market that's complicated. I would recommend something simple, which has less hoops and tricks. If you go into crypto like I did, you're probably going to make a lot of mistakes because you'll be like, oh, okay, well, I can trade crypto and hold it, or I could leverage trade, or I could do meme coins, or I could do this, or I could do this. There's all these ways you can waste time, which is kind of like strategy hopping, but on an even worse scale. So I would just tell myself, just go in, buy yourself the smallest Forex prop firm challenges you can. Just keep doing that follow-up process, gather data on your trading, and just improve. Treat it like a business, treat it seriously. Don't treat it as something that you're doing for fun. Yes, it's kind of like a video game. Yes, people that play video games will typically be better trading, but it's not a video game. If you treat it like that, you'll lose.
So you have 5 years of experience, and let's say somebody just getting started today, listen to your advice, got signed up with the prop firm. What are the things they need to be doing in 2025 for them to be profitable and to start making money?
So I've talked about this in the past, something called the 5 steps to success, which is what I recommend anybody do whenever they start trading. Somebody that's been trading for a while can just jump into whatever step they're already in. To summarize those, if somebody's brand new in 2025 looking to trade, the 5 steps are: one, to learn trading, learn the basics of trading, understand exactly what trading is. I built a bunch of guides about that. All that's on my YouTube if people want to know exactly what that is. But just in general, you need to learn what trading is, risk to reward. It's not about 100% win rate. It's not about any of these like flashy gimmicks. It's about understanding risk to reward, win rate, winners and losers in a row, etc. Really, truly understanding that, what risk management is, what psychology means, not over learning. So long as you have that, you'll be good. Learning how to read the charts, just looking at pure price action is going to help most people more than anything else out there. And so that's what I recommend for the first step. It's just learning the basics, understanding what trading really is, and having the right foundation, as well as just general terminology, but not too much. Just understanding if I tell you long XAU USD, 3 lots at 29.90, if you don't understand what I just said, you still haven't gone through the basics. And so those are the kind of things that you need just to understand the basics of trading. And then the second step is going to be a strategy. You need to find yourself a simple strategy that's going to work for your personality style. Most people don't say this, but you have to consider it. It needs to work for your personality style. If you're somebody that's not able to take quick decisions and move quickly, you're not going to be a good scalper. You're going
Right.
against the stream. It doesn't make any sense. If you're somebody that's very impatient, you're not going to be a good swing trader. You have to consider yourself as a human, how you will actually be trading. It's not like you're separate to your trading. It's you in your trading. It's you versus you. It's not you versus the markets or anybody else. And so pick a strategy that's very, 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 very simple. It could be as simple as support resistance. It could be an opening range breakout strategy. It could be anything. Just don't go too complex. I don't recommend smart money or ICT or anything like that. It's too complicated. People waste a lot of time on that. Obviously, it can work, but it's too many hoops. It's just like options. It works, but it's not as optimal. 3 is actually trusting a strategy, learning to master it, journaling, going through a lot of data, back testing it, truly understanding what is my entry model, what are my checklists, what are my rules. 4 is just going to be actually taking the trades on the live markets and starting to work on your trading psychology. Take trades on the real markets with some risk, even a small amount of risk, and start to raise that until you start to have issues. Go back down a level, keep journaling and figuring out what's causing those issues, and then keep working through those. And then 5 is just continuing to master your trading. Keep going through this cycle of I plan my trade, I take the trade, I manage my trade, I journal my trade, I review my journal, and repeat the cycle over and over. Make sure that you actually have a clear plan at the end goal. Let's say you start off trading and you want to make $10,000 a month over the next 6 months. You need to figure out, what am I going to do each month, each week, each day? What is my exact plan? How long will it take roughly for me to go through these steps? And how will I actually make that money? $10,000 a month is 5% a month on a $200,000 funded account. How can I make 5% a month? I need my edge to allow me to do that. How much do I risk? How many trades do I need? And then to buy 200K account, it's $1,000. Do I have that money? Could I lose 10 of those accounts before I get funded? Yes, no, okay, go with a smaller account. This is what I mean.
Okay, sounds good. And then, do you have any tools that you use that helps with like journaling, and everything that is related to basically just make somebody better when it comes to like reading your data, going through all these things?
So I've worked on like different like Excel spreadsheets in the past to
Okay.
just track my own trades and help other people. But I've actually paid to have developers make my own trading journal platform, which is totally free, by the way. It's just not public because I don't nobody really asked for it. I'm only working with my own students. But I did make my own custom coded platform, which you can automatically have your trades imported into it, and you can add in screenshots, videos. It gives you a bunch of data. So, I mean, I would recommend having something like that. If you're looking for an even better version that's quite, I guess it's a bit more expensive, would be TradeZella, which is going to work for any market. It's going to be very good because they've been working on it for a long time. But I have basically a smaller version of TradeZella that I made myself, which obviously, people can do whatever they want, but I would recommend having a journal where they can just import their trades if they already have some, and it gives them some data over their trading, and somewhere where it's organized and they're able to add in screenshots, they're able to review things easily. And one more thing I'll recommend for journal is look up Trader Dante or Tom Dante on X and find his Demon Finder. Search up Demon Finder Trader Dante on X, or I made my own version on Notion. You can just ask me for it on IGDMs. I'll just give you the template. And it's basically just a system for you to figure out what demons or what mistakes you're making. And you're basically just checking off every time that you do it. So let's say I told myself only 2 trades per day, and you took 3 trades that day. You would check it off, and you would write in the notes what it's costing me. I took 3 trades today. I had profits, but now I'm break even. So what did that actually cost me? Oh, that costed me 2R. 2R on a let's say $100,000 account is $2,000. I just lost $2,000 worth of opportunity cost because I broke my rules. So that your brain can actually relate to the mistakes you're making and creating a cost, or else people will never actually follow the trading rules because it's all hypothetical.
Right. Okay. These are really good stuff. So if anybody wants to find you, what is your last word to the people, and where could they find you before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I would say just my Instagram is totally fine. That way you can see all the videos that I have and speak to me directly in DMs, which
Okay,
is
sounds good. Yeah,
Sebastian
I'm gonna
Trades.
put the
Yeah, you can put
info
in the
down below for
description.
people to find. Yeah, thank you, Sebastien, and thank you so much for your time. This was very, very good, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you.